Hello and welcome, everybody. This is going to be the Daily Dharma. Today, at the time of this broadcast, is actually October 31st. We celebrate Halloween, some of us here, and others, El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, honoring the ancestors. Also, others still with the pagan holidays, the Samhain, when the veil is ultra thin. So today we're going to grab a few different types of decks. I would have put on a whole getup and done a costume for you guys. I love the season so much. However, too busy, gotta go to work, lots to do. So let's take a moment, settle our energies once more before getting in. Mine in particular, syncing up, taking a few deep breaths. Releasing any resistance, asking for the guidance and intentions to step forward. What do we have for the viewer today? One of the goddess energies, guiding, guarding, protecting. There we have Orchid Priestess of Destiny. Flying out of the deck, very nice. Underneath, Sound the Fierce Flute. That one was up yesterday, and if you're watching these in sequence, you'll probably remember this one is often about our frequency rising up and piercing through something. So some type of consciousness breakthrough, epiphany, realization moment. It also, in that way, is talking about how as one individual's vibration shifts, whether positive or negative, that there's a little bit of a fallout that happens. Certain people will be aligning with that shift and change, and other people will be moving away from that. So it creates this resonance and harmony versus not harmony, not resonant. And so there's this discernment process that happens with us making our own personal choices. And then when we have Orchid Priestess of Destiny 21 coming out, I feel like what we're talking about here is some choice point you've made. You've achieved some understanding, some breakthrough epiphany, some awareness of the previous reason for the lesson and why you were kind of spinning your wheels or not seeming to make as much progress in one certain relationship or circumstance, situation in your life. After this breakthrough moment, then it's like there's this choice made, and as soon as you make that choice, new doorways begin to open because you're aligning more so with your soul harmonics. Both individuals are playing an instrument with the breath in this case, which I find more another depiction. Like some of them will be playing a string instrument, so they have dexterity in their fingertips and manipulation skills going into what they're creating with the extension of their actions more so than with the breath. This is the vibration, the voice, the breath, the harmonic resonance, the pleasing magnetism that attracts us to specific situations, people, messages, and so on. So I want to get a few of, yes, let's go with the shamanic deck and the ancestral deck before we move into the code cards today. We'll start with the archetypal deck here, seeing what additional messages want to come through about this shift of energy and the opportunities coming through. What kind of energy is supportive at this time? We have Kairos and the Father coming out together. Quite an interesting combination as usual. There's always so much mystery in the cards. The Father often talks about of course, the shift from our family of origin and our upbringing and the mentorship process of assimilation into the environment with the Father card. It talks also about the double option close, like, well, if you don't go to work and do all these things that seem to create obligation and burden and responsibility, then yeah, I'm hearing, if you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? So I don't know if any Pink Floyd fans in the house here, but in all seriousness, the Father with Kairos is talking about something taking divine timing, and also our ability to kind of continue to shed our skin and to make our own sense of what that means. Like, do we really need to work for another in order to get our money, for instance? So it's not just you have to go and be part of a cog in a machine for somebody else's benefit and sell yourself out to be part of this society. You can alter this and shape shift your destiny based on the choices that you make. And I feel that that's what we're talking about with this choice point, where it's suddenly this epiphany of whether this situation isn't going to shift or change, or whether that individual understands their impact and just has a vastly different value system than yourself, or this institution, or whatever. This situationship here seems to have called you into task and to reassess whether you feel like this is it, going to go forward with you in some type of a way. So it's like this couldn't have happened previous to this. Something else had to happen first. Let's get one more time through and then we'll see what came out already. Actually, I want a few more cards. There we go. And we'll take a look at this too. Beautiful. So we have 12, the King, with, oh, beautiful, 10, the Warrior, the Mentor, with this beautiful owl depiction, that's the number 6, and 22, Master number 22, the Creator. So we were already talking about this, some of this information a little bit, but I believe it's like to step forward out of the shadows of our forefathers, that it's divine timing to create our own shine and not to stand obscured or obligated by the approaches and methodology of our ancestors necessarily. We're here to evolve the process. You specifically are here to make some type of a breakthrough epiphany here. So with some of these cards too, with this warrior energy, this morning, the preceding messages, I'm thinking of a situation in my life where I was kind of projecting and deciding of the type of approach and method I would use to instruct a specific course that I'm considering having. And part of that idea that stepped forward is the difference between a fighter and a warrior is really a combination of our alignment with what we believe in, as well as the breath and the body's alignment with our inner chi. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's like the, not two wings of one bird, but two horns of one Taurus here. We've got Uranus and Taurus. Some of you may have some Taurus in your chart. I just see that cattle or whatever head here, steer, something. It's something here about the difference of being the fighter to the warrior. Is the fighter is more responding to the environment versus one who's creating their own destiny by being their own light in this world, not standing in the shadows, or even for some people hiding behind some type of previous evidence. So this also reminds me of one of the breakthrough thought moments that came into my own breakthrough here, where it's like also, if something that you had approached previously did not come to fruition, it was complex, it didn't go the way you expected, it may have even left you feeling a bit like you kind of flopped. You didn't come with all of your research to the test, and so you didn't get as good of a grade as you really would have hoped. And but with this, it's like the right thing cannot be created at the wrong time. And so don't let the previous failures dissuade you from continuing to do what you're called to do. There's something moving forward where, you know, any inventor with this creator mentor energy, I'd say Edison, but he stole that idea from another individual, I believe. With any of the individuals that have created and invented, there's a lot of trial and error. And so I think that some of this was because of the divine timing in the epiphany moment of something that was critically you that needed to be that missing ingredient in the recipe to really make the flavor pop of what your offering was sort of missing. You were still on some level offering some type of distilled down, hybridized version of something that you are standing on the precedents of your forefathers and your teachings and instruction, instead of saying, well, if I had it my own way and I wasn't afraid of any judgment or blah, 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 then how would I do it? I would do it breath with body. I would bring my inner shaman through any mundane task. And at some level, I would offer up the explanation of why someone should care to align their ideals with anything they do. Such as I've had jobs before where all day long I thought of how resentful I was. I was in banking. Oh my goodness, you cannot sit there and earn, what was I getting at different ones of these jobs? Somewhere around the $7 an hour mark, plus or minus. I think when I started out, it was like $7.25, which seemed like a lot because I was young and in the times, right? But then here I am counting multi-millions of dollars, and I was putting the wrong energy into my work. And so anything worth doing, if you're going to do it, there's got to be an investment in your mindset and narrative of why you're actually doing that and the good that you could create through that. And so I often, after this time frame, when I had more of my spiritual revolution, came to the idea that it's almost like reverse money laundering, that I was so attracted to handling money, also with all my Taurian bits, which rules the finance and law of attraction. There was some reasoning behind it to work through maybe some of my ideas about abundance mindset, scarcity mentality, and law of attraction, possibly. Also, maybe to cleanse and purify that energy. And then all the money I made from any one of my jobs that I could question the establishment, any of that money I took, I chose to cast my own messages of support with then what I took and put my money into. So there's somehow the way that we alchemize our experience, but not to lose the plot here. The idea is that there was some type of higher-minded personal self-expression that has finally really taken root. The seed has sprouted and germinated, and now there is this more established centralized alignment happening with you that's unlocking this point of destiny and moving you onto your throne in this king energy, where then your radiance comes through because it's your deal. It's like when the clothes wear the person versus the person wearing the clothes. You know, like here I can come, and if I stare at myself, it's a little awkward for me to see myself with the makeup and stuff. But if I'm not sitting here staring and overly criticizing and standing aside myself, it's like it's just a get up, you know. So can we actually step into the shoes that we're hoping to fill here and actually make it our own? Or are we like feeling a bit awkward, as though we're the toddler putting on mom's high heels and pearls, or dad's what would it be, is his necktie or whatever, his work boots, whatever the case may be, you know. Yeah, there's also the ideals that we're outgrowing. It's not just that we are trying to be not in his image. A friend of mine gave me a book, Not in His Image. It's talking about a deviation from a theological approach to human incarnation. I haven't read it, but maybe that's something for you guys to check into if that resonates with you. But there's something here about the divine timing of warrior training and how you are moving in, even if this is something mundane, like in a family or in a group setting, taking a prominent leadership position on a board, or, oh, I was going to say something else as well, but you know, anything. It really could be anything with the stepping into the kingship, where then you are, with the radiance and the alignment of your light, helping to create this crown breakthrough energy where there's this chakra alignment. Look at this snake curling through this area. It's like you're enlivening people's connection to their cosmic heritage and roots, and opening up this gnosis. This snake energy to me is not nefarious in this case. It's more talking about wisdom, as is the owl. The mentor here often reminds me of more of a shamanic space as well, because of that transdimensional type energy here. Something that you're quite passionate about. You could even be an astrologer. I haven't been following the astrology, and I literally was thinking of it before this. Maybe I should look, but I don't have a lot of time today. But we'll have to check in with the astrology probably early next week, because we do have coming up a Taurus full moon. So maybe that's what we're talking about with this warrior training. And maybe there's this alignment happening where you are getting back into your own personal training, or your personal regimen is being strengthened, your character possibly being strengthened, some type of resolve. But I feel like this is an activation of something greater than just yourself. It's like we are more than just the sum of our parts. Some of your parts. The shamanic reclamation has been a theme all year. The creator, you're creating something, and you're putting pen to paper or paintbrush to palette and to canvas, something like that. And you're going to come out shining with this. It's time, because you've finally outgrown the need for validation, maybe in some way as well, with the outgrowing of the father, is like outgrowing of the father complex. Like, no shade on the father. Our fathers have a special place for good, bad, or ugly, depending on our situation. But when we revere the father, there's accidental distance created. When we idealize the father, we create separation energy that belongs to them and not to me. But when we understand that the father is a sum of his own process, his own lessons and healing process, we can see the man behind the mask, and we can start to appreciate that that individual had their own path, and that they're not responsible for ours. They're not in charge of ours. That ultimately, so that we can look at the man in the mirror at the end of the day, we need to answer to our own karma and our own divine timing in our lives. And if it's time for us to step out of the shadows and out of some scripted role here or some such, then it is. Ooh, underneath we have Thanatos. I often see that as Thanos. I know. Marvel. So what is this image here? We've got several hands. It's reminding me of, if any of you have seen it, the helping hands that are in the labyrinth. When she's getting thrown, she falls down into this pit, and there's all these hands coming out, and then they start making faces and talking to her. And, do you want us to give you a hand, or do you want to be dropped? And she gets dropped into the dungeon type thing. Not sure why that's coming through, but Thanatos here, really the depiction in the imagery is also talking about being, it's like several things. Webs of deception that we might weave. Also the webs of interconnectivity that we weave, the way that we use the World Wide Web, and using that in order to create, to interconnect, to research and evolve and uplift, versus do we use it to perpetuate themes of the underworld and to capture and project and, you know, to fight or to be a warrior, which, you know, the true warrior, you can see all the noble depictions that will say something like, you know, after a certain point, it wasn't all as fair in love and war. It was like they had integrity, and the warrior would have honor. They would wait for the moment. They wouldn't, you know, attack under cover of night. That kind of stuff came more with the more toxic regimes that kind of took over. So are we talking about the difference of nature versus nurture? I'll take that one. Completion, look at that. The directional Ouroboros, the snake that devours its own self. Instead of shedding its skin, it's actually regenerating. So if you've been in a karmic loop, there's an opportunity to jump off in any one of these 4 directions I'm hearing. So there's, I think that this is the portal that you're completing something. You're making this declaration. You're stepping out of the shadows. And in so doing, you have more options now than you previously had. There's less limitation. It may take some time for you to do some self-care, self-reflection, getting back into your body, mind, spirit with breath in mind, breath into body. Yoga is definitely the ticket for a lot of people. For me, I absolutely love martial arts. And as I was saying that, I had this beloved card pop out, and I was absolutely envisioning that card earlier when I saw this mentor card. Okay. Yeah. Take a look at this. You'll see why look at this. Woo-wee. That to me is incredibly powerful magic here. So this mentor, it's like, oh, there's a song in my head from early 90s maybe. I'll something the world. I'll melt for you. I'll start the world on fire. I'll melt for you. Anyway, some of you will know that one. It might have special meaning. You might want to look up the lyrics. It seems like it's a nice upbeat tune. Anyways, let's keep moving. So we've got a few cards coming out. So with Beloved, Radical Acceptance, we have the Medicine Wheel. Absolutely, the 4 directions, again with that compass. The Benefactor, Grace and Generosity. The Hunter, and Netcaster, preparations come to fruition. So here we have the setup that's going into this. I feel like with this Beloved coming out on the heels of looking at that Metox energy, you're really coming into your own in some type of a way here. And so this Beloved firstly represents your personal alignment with your inner world and with your passions, your calling, doing it for you. It's the why. Even if you're going to keep going to a job that you don't particularly love, it looks like you are improving the way that you connect with all that you do, and you're bringing in some breakthrough moment. I mean, there's these bursting energies in so many directions here on all these cards now that I look at it. So we have this king, this warrior, and this creator. Boom, boom, boom. It's like fireworks to me. In the background, as you are like sailing through, it's reminding me of Bad Guys Don't Look at Explosions. So something about the hero's journey, and like where you see the cinematic idea of the person just kind of like levels something, they walk away like, yeah. And it's kind of like, for me, bringing up the dual message of, do we really want to leave destruction in our wake? Instead, I see that you're leaving behind these fireworks. And so it's kind of like these mic drop moments where you're just kind of dropping these little pearls and maybe not even really recognizing how far you've come. And so it might take a little bit of getting back into that self-care energy and recognizing that you've done way more than enough at this moment. So let me get you a peek at these cards here. So again, we've got that 4 directions, beloved, and then I want to show you these two together. Both of these like a compass. It's kind of reminding me of something like in Jurassic Park. They've got those little circle rover things that they can jump in these little bubbles and drive them around. It's a little 2-seater thing. It's kind of like, that's what I'm seeing, your Merkaba field, your astral field. And once you're aligned and tapping into that astral plane here, which it looks like most of you will be at least experimenting with that on some level, it kind of seems like you're able to, as I say, make it through this portal. And then it's like, not only do you have the option to go up, down, back and forth, front and center, you have opened up also this infinite Z plane. Is that what I want to say? It's like the diagonal. You can move diagonally. That always comes up with the Harry Potter reference. And maybe for some of you, there's a bit of misdirection or accidentally coming upon something. It's like, it's giving the accidental ending up someplace you don't think that you want to be, but incidentally, it's what gives you a piece of information that later becomes relevant and becomes the stepping stone or the missing link of information. And so there's something that you may have stumbled upon that's helping the breakthrough, and it's helping establish the new order, recognizing how powerful you are to choose your own adventure and to not get caught up in false loyalty and thinking that you need to stick with something, let's say, that might even be toxic or at least unfulfilling, when there's so many other options out there. You know, there are infinite ways that we can get out and do our own thing. For instance, for me, one of the most incredible breakthroughs I made was going to work for myself. It's not for everybody. You do have to hustle and you have to simplify, because at first you're not making any money. In most cases, you're putting it all back into the craft, you're developing, and it's so easy to fold and to get caught up in the scarcity. But there's some type of a way, maybe you need a life coach or somebody to help you kind of make it through, to see your opportunities. Or maybe this is what you're doing for others. So we've got this healing. You're completing the cycle, connecting with your inner burning flame here and igniting everything else that you touch, taste, and it's like your power has become so condensed, and it's like, I want to say, not under pressure, which denotes stress. It's like there's this good tension in your excited tension, and it's like quickly moving particles all in one space. And if you can continue to harness and condense and consolidate all of the power you are to invest in the law of attraction of, where do I want to go? What am I good at? What makes me feel incredible? What lights me up? How can I feed the solutions? How can I be more at purpose, intentional in my life? It looks like you're here gaining some assistance from at least one other or the community. And this can even, for some of you, come through with the ability to either delegate, or for some people, someone who may think that they wanted to take you down a notch could accidentally give you a leg up because of something that they intend as negative, but others are like, oh, well, I know that person, and that's kind of looks good on them because the way this person said, it sounds like there's more to the story. I think that the universe here is stepping forward, even if others would try to detract from your energy. There is this powerful medicine wheel coming through for you because of your integrity and your alignment, because alignment is rewarded. That's when the gateways, the floodgates open. And then again, netcaster, everything's coming to fruition here. You've got a wide net. And hunter, I feel like, is you really aligning with all of these animal totems, the potentialities here from the medicine wheel being with you at this time of transition. We've got moon maiden here, new beginnings coming through, and a few others. Will-o'-the-wisps, treasures hidden in the shadows. That's right, that misdirection coming out. Take everything in stride. Water, go with the flow. Yeah, Bruce Lee stepping forward. Be like water. The rainbow, that's that warrior again, the water and the rainbow energy coming through. Of course, don't get caught up in other significance unless it's important to your energy, but it could definitely be rainbow warriors here. But in the prophecy too, rainbow warriors were those enlightened individuals taking us into the future. The blade is talking about sacred severance with any toxic, detox energy, cleansing, clarifying, evil eye energy, return to sender tenfold. So we're already at the end of the video. We've got consciousness on the bottom. Let's just get some code cards. And yeah, this looks like a great breakthrough for you. We've got fertility on the top of that one. Change is a-coming. We know that one. First out, delight and magic. Yeah, I think that that is exactly what you're doing. You're tapping into your inner mojo. Here we have discernment, allowance, and fertility. Allow yourself to understand and to make those choices that are for your best, highest growth, that make you feel happy, that tap into your magic, and actually respect your personal alchemy and mojo. Like, there are individuals that sometimes, if you show up as yourself, they want to take something from that. They want to make it into some type of thing to point at. And I think you just want to be you. You just want to have fun. And yeah, so let's see. Yeah, we're at the end of the video, so maybe we'll have to check back in later, see if I can get back out. Any last messages? Eight of Boons. I see you being very creative, spinning all of these threads, weaving your life, and doing this in your personal time and space. But this comes out with a lot of hard work will earn you your rewards. Oh, the Council of Animals, 20. Again, 3 hits with all those animals. It's like the world is lying at your feet. Your audience is captivated. And there is something here that you're bringing forward. So a group is being assembled for you to take the mentorship, leadership role in, to stand and ascend to your kingship, queenship role, and to be a warrior trainer, a trainer of warriors in some type of a way, whether that be light warriors or otherwise. So fantastic reading for you today. Thank you so much. Do check out some of our other timeless readings. And if you enjoyed this, if you want